You know, we live in a world that celebrates success. Everywhere you look, on social media, in the news, you see people showing their achievements, new jobs, big wins, amazing lifestyles. But what you don't often see is the struggle, the sleepless nights, the setbacks. And that's why so many of us fear failure. We start to think, if I fail, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I should just give up. But let me tell you this, failure is not the end. In fact, most of the time, it's the beginning of something better. Think about it. When you learn to ride a bicycle, did you get it right the first time? Probably not. You fell, scraped your knee, maybe even cried. But every fall was teaching you balance, teaching you persistence. And eventually, you rode with confidence. If you had quit after that first fall, you never would have learned. The same is true for life. Failure isn't a stop sign. It's a detour. It's a redirection. Sometimes failing means you're simply being guided towards a better way, a smarter method, or even a completely new path that's right for you. Some of the greatest stories in history are built on failure. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Without all those failures, there would be no light bulb. Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player of all time, was once cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine if he had decided, "That's it, I'm done." Even J.K. Rowling, before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, was rejected by multiple publishers. She was broke, struggling, and yet, she didn't let failure define her. So why do we treat failure like it's something shameful? Failure is proof that you tried, that you had the courage to step out of your comfort zone. And courage is always something to be proud of. Here's the truth. Failure teaches you what success never will. Success feels good, but failure teaches you resilience, patience, and creativity. It forces you to adapt, to grow, to push beyond limits you didn't even know you had. But most importantly, failure is not permanent. It's just feedback. It's information. It's life saying, "Okay, not this way. Try another." Let me bring it closer to home. Maybe you failed an exam. Maybe you didn't get the job you applied for. Maybe you started a project, and it didn't work out. That doesn't make you a failure. That just means you're in the middle of your story, not at the end. Every single person you admire today has failed at some point. The difference is, they didn't stop there. They kept going. They used failure as fuel, not as a finish line. So the next time you stumble, remember this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. You can't have one without the other. And when you embrace that mindset, failure loses its power over you. Suddenly, it's no longer something to fear, it's something to learn from. It becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. So if you're going through a tough time right now, if things aren't working out the way you hoped, please, don't give up. Your story is still unfolding. Failure is not the end. It might just be the beginning of your greatest chapter. Take that lesson, take that experience, and move forward stronger. Because the truth is, failure doesn't define you. How you rise after failure does. And trust me, when you look back one day, you'll realize that the moments you thought were endings were really just beginnings in disguise. If this message inspired you, give this video a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it today, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And tell me in the comments, what's one failure in your life that ended up teaching you the biggest lesson? Failure is not the end. It never was.